But you get like force fed the idea that lamb or pork is like a lower grade meat as a bodybuilder, don't you?
It's really not, though. I mean, it's got more fat content, obviously, but it's not a bad thing, especially for health.
Yeah.
Well, it is, isn't it? We're all told like pork's the worst. You should stay away from it. It's a dirty, horrible meat, and why has it got such a bad stigma? That you see pigs or boars in the wild. They're proper lean, and they're good. They're clean animals as well. They're only dirty when humans shove them in a pen and make them live in their own shit.
That's
like
true.
any animal, really, isn't it?
Yeah. A bit like Dan in his cupboard.
Mate, I've had to set up a rig light. I've got a rig light now.
Fucking hell, he's got like, this is professional as fuck, mate.
Check this out, look, it's varying amounts of burns victim. Whoa, fucking heat lamp. I could fucking grow a 9-bar a week on that. I do that. I don't know what's still. Yeah, my lights in my fucking in the broom cupboard in the molestation room have died. I haven't been fucked to sort out. Anyway,
that was weeks ago.
Yeah, no one said I was good at stuff. An assumption. I can do some stuff. Can lift some stuff up, put it down. Lights. You
got loads of spare time now. You're a full-time coach. Full-time online coach, Dan.
Mate, I'm hashtag blessed. Takes a lot out of you. Jamie will vouch for that. Gotta, rest. Anyway, I've got Ellis. She's had she's got arthritis.
Yeah.
So she's trying out the new butler service that is me. And not in a good way where I can just like wank on them. Where I've got to like make squash. Apparently it's only a certain type of squash that she can have, a certain cup.
Have you had a preview?
So they better be worth it. I mean, they're looking a bit bandaged.
Right.
So they're not fun bags just yet.
Give it a few weeks.
Yeah, give it a few weeks. But remember, through Instagram, they're not just for me. They're for everyone. Everyone can enjoy them. Anyway, yeah. So that's
you gotta set up one of those accounts, Dan, and fucking make them pay the money back.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, go fun tits.
Yes.
That would be good.
I love it.
Or just do like, she's on so many pain meds, I probably could set up like an OnlyFans for her, but she wouldn't be conscious. Is that okay? I think that's okay.
I don't think she mind when she sees the money you rack up.
Exactly.
Plus, you're married now. I think it's like...
Yeah, so I own her, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, so yeah, my DMs are open for the hate mail, so see you there. Anyway, got big man Jamie in the house.
Oh yes. Well,
another weekend, another pro.
Jamie, are you still living in Dubai?
I'm actually just come back to Wales.
You Wales, aren't you?
So I have a place in Dubai, and I literally just got a place here in Wales for now.
So what Dan just said about like him owning his woman is completely fine for you in Dubai, but
no, we can have 5, 6, 7.
Frowned upon it from Wales.
It's all right if it's sheep.
Yeah, no. If you're in Wales, I'm pretty sure it's the other way around. The Welsh women seem to have 5 or 6 men
at the same time.
Yeah, that don't know about each other, obviously.
Sometimes at the same time, like in the room.
Yeah, they know about each other. They just all join in.
Yeah, they're trying not to look at each other, but they're definitely there.
Fucking hell. That's about
anyway,
right.
Jamie's got another guy to the fucking Olympia this weekend, so
yeah, today.
See that.
Give us a rundown on how the weekend went for you, bud.
Yeah, so the weekend yesterday was a pretty crazy weekend for me. We had 5 new British champions. Then Elton obviously qualified for Olympia, winning the pro show. And then Lucy, she's actually from Wales as well. She placed 4th in the women's bikini pro show. So it was a pretty mad day for me, but it was a long day. I think I was up at 5 and got back here about 1 a.m. So yeah, it was it took it out of me, like, but yeah, it was a successful day. And to be fair, the standard at the show was fucking unreal, to be honest. It was a very, very good standard. Don't know if you've seen the super heavies. Did you see the?
Yeah, it's a shame that the feed is, as always, shit. I literally almost smashed my TV up, so I didn't watch it because it was offending me. I'm still annoyed that PCA can make a perfect crystal clear fucking feed, and somehow Two Bros are still running it on the Wi-Fi. So you know the guys, Jamie. Maybe you could have a little, set up a hub or something, 7G or whatever the one that gives you the most cancer is. Put that one in. Yeah, it wasn't good. But yeah, I saw it. The Supers was decent.
Yeah, Supers was good. I thought Johnny would win. I thought he had it, but it was a bit of a shock when he didn't get the card, because I thought he was clear winner, to be honest.
I think it was like it's picking like shape and genetics over what I thought was bodybuilding. Like, don't get me wrong, like the guy was sick, but I think Johnny, just on muscularity, it seemed like it wasn't weighed correctly. Like, yeah, the guy had the shape but I think that the mass and stuff should have been weighted higher for me.
Yeah, I think I know obviously it was a different set of judges panels to the usual, and I think they did go for, like, even in the figure classes, they were going for like the bigger women who weren't maybe as hard, but they had a little bit more like round muscle bellies. Do you know what I mean? But in all fairness, the standard of judging across the show was fair, as in they always judged like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, the bikini girls were actually getting marked down for coming in too lean, which I thought was great, because I don't personally like that look of bikini when they come in shredded and they look like they've not eaten for about 20 years. Do you know what I mean?
We were chatting about that last week, weren't it? Saying that some of them look so ill and unhealthy. And
I got some stick for that, mind. My fucking I had some inboxes off some bikini girls not liking the comments.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but now look at the show and you got marked down for it. So
yeah,
that was probably because of us, obviously. So
it changed the whole thing, the whole criteria.
Yeah, the whole criteria was based on last week's chatting shit.
I feel like
so I've done 3 podcasts now. How many followers have you lost?
Oh, well, we went from 3 to -3. People have gone back and unwatched episodes that they had watched.
You can't unwatch your shit, Dan.
No, that's true. You kind of burned on your soul. I thought Jim looked fucking sick, personally.
Yeah.
I thought his condition... Connor never misses the mark. He is right, even though he writes incredibly aggressive stuff on Instagram all the time. He doesn't miss the mark. But I think that they're bored of his physique. Hasn't really, evolved that much.
The best I seen Connor was Ireland. He looked incredible in Ireland. And he actually, to be honest, that day he should have gone pro. He was beaten by Giovanni, an Irish kid. And in my opinion, I still think to this day Connor was like clear winner there.
Mm.
Yeah, I think Connor looked a little tired, like his body looked a little bit tired.
I mean, he's been
going since the start of the year. And, like you said, he's never really off.
No,
he's
not.
Like on Alicante again, he was very good. And yeah, in Ireland he looked phenomenal. Like in Ireland, he literally smoked everyone. So I think if he comes, if he has a little bit of rest and comes back, I'm pretty sure that he'll be in the pecking order soon. He'll be right place, right time. Over the next 12 months or so, just needs to carry on going. Just have a bit and go again.
And yeah, well, Jim was dry. I think his pec test getting involved a little bit. He looked a little bit lighter on the legs than he usually does.
It's mental that guy hasn't gone pro years ago, man.
Jim's just been smashing the mass pasty for ages. He's fucking massive.
Yeah, I remember standing next to him at the NABA show and feeling like a child. Just fucking huge. And when you're walking out on stage, you see the back of someone, much like your trap stand, you see somebody's back like that. It's fucking intimidating when you're walking out on stage behind them.
I didn't like seeing him backstage. I didn't like seeing him.
Yeah, you got the result though, brother. Right, okay, so I'll do the intro before we get too deep. So welcome back to Brash Bros podcast. We are welcomed by Jamie DoRego, IFBB Pro. He's going to give us a rundown on what the plans are. I'm not going to I know a couple of the things, so I won't let the cat out of the bag. I'll let Jamie tell the stories. But what we normally ask for, Bud, is just like a rundown, really, of your bodybuilding career, what got you into it. Obviously, any sort of notable stories along the way, and then kind of up to where you are now, really.
Okay, yeah. So, God, I started bodybuilding. I think my first show was BMBF Naturals, the Welsh. This was going back 2010.
Nice.
First show was like 18 years old, and then I pretty much carried on ever since then. I did the natural scene until I was 21, I believe, and then I did my first like untested show, which was UKBFF back then in 2022. I was actually beaten that year by Joey Farrell. And then I think I placed 6th at the British that year. And then the next year I came back, and that's when I'd say it kind of all started properly, because that's when, I came back, I won the juniors. I was 22 years old there. I won the juniors. I won the overall as a junior. And then I kind of just started to win the majority of the shows after that. Then I went and won the Welsh again the following year, the Northeast. And just that's kind of where it all kicked off. And obviously that's why everyone kind of thinks I'm from Wales, because I guess when I started to get good at bodybuilding or be an all right bodybuilder, I was around Wales all the time. And then I basically moved to Dubai when I was 25, turned pro that 2019. So yeah, 3 years ago. So turned pro then, and then pretty much I've not done much in the pro league since, because I just felt like I've missed the mark a few times. I've probably tried to play a different game coming into the shows, that I should have kind of stuck with what turned me pro in the first place. It was always like conditioning, like line shape. So the plan this year is to do the Arnold Classic in 8 weeks, and then hit a run of shows after that, and that's pretty much
the face was telling me something was bubbling. Yeah,
so we're doing the Arnold Classic 8 weeks, and then I plan to just do a run of shows and just get to be honest, for me this year, it's about just nailing it again, like I did back in the day, and just getting my name out there and just putting my face in the judges, letting them see me and see the hard work, and just making sure we get it right this year.
I know there's a lot of things you've done, but what have you changed from those results you weren't happy with to now?
I think one, obviously I changed my coach. Just my approach going into the show. Like in the past, I think when you turn pro, you always think like, okay, I need to play the size game. I need to be the biggest guy. I need to stay big. And I kind of played that game for too long in the 2-1-2, because those guys are freaky. But I always won shows when I was like conditioned and, let my lines and shape sort of play in my favor. So I think I've always been so adamant to stay heavier going into preps, and I think this year we've been like, okay, let's almost get very close to the weight and get under the weight before we then feed back up and just make it an easy smooth ride into weighing in. Because in the past, I've always been around the 220s, and then we'd always try to just take the weight off with some Drakes and just make the weight, and then hopefully carb up enough to be full on stage, so it's just a total different approach this year. And I think obviously coming back to Wales and having like Mike and Lisa train me every single day, pose me every day, I think that just makes a huge difference. And I've got eyes on me 24/7 and just the right people around me. So I'm excited for this year, because I feel like this year will be the year I actually look good again, since I turned pro. So
Jeremy, everyone seems to think like Dubai is the place to be, and everyone's getting massive there, and they've got all the secrets. In your opinions, why did you come back to Wales? Is it just more hardcore, and it's what you used to?
I think you always want to go back to like your roots, right? And Dubai is an amazing place, and it's a very easy life out there, but it's also very hectic, and there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of distractions, and it's just a very fast-paced life. So, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, you can prep there and you can kind of like make prep enjoyable, but I think when we're all trying to be like you ever look at like the greatest athletes in the world, they literally put themselves in like a box for a prep or a fight, or do you know what I mean? And Dubai, there's just too much going on. It's too much, like, there's too much around you going on. Whereas I felt I needed to go back to like my roots and almost isolate myself and put myself in that kind of like, put yourself in like your little hole, like your little atmosphere, like we do when we're bodybuilding. Like back in the day, we always used to just stay covered up throughout a whole prep and then just turn up on stage. And I think, you know, going back, it's all social media. It's all like, there's just so many eyes everywhere. And I just wanted to kind of get away from that. And obviously Dubai to me is home, innit? So it's kind of nice to be away from that and just feel sort of chilled and relaxed and kind of just, I only have one focus, which is the Arnolds. So every day, like Johnny, I'm literally in the gym every single day from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. I just stay there the whole day. You know what I mean? It's just that you're just able to zone out here, I find. And obviously, you know, I grew up here, but in bodybuilding in a sense. So it was just nice to kind of come back to like a place that feels like home with the right people around me and the right atmosphere. And, you know, all we're doing is just training and trying to get better every single day. So that was kind of the reason for coming here.
Yeah. So what do you think was the last time you stepped out? Like, I was kind of gutted for you because I love watching UK guys, and I've seen you come in sharp, I've seen you come in full, and the last one, without being a cunt, it wasn't that, was it? Like,
no. I mean, I did Romania, and again, like a lot happened last year. I got divorced, and you know, I think that played a massive part. To be honest, I should have pulled out that show because when I was at the Arnold Classic, I was actually looking really good. I was about 6 weeks out, and it was probably the best point I've been in prep. And then getting divorced and having all that shit going on, it just fries your brain. But you've already like made such a commitment. You know, I was already like 10 weeks in prep, and I was like, you know what, like we always get that mindset, and we're kind of stubborn at times that we don't want to be like, no, don't compete. You're like, fuck it, I can do it. Like, I'll compete. Like, you know, I'll just kind of keep pushing. And it just didn't go right.
No, it's a distraction though, isn't it? It's a distraction technique to take you away from that.
And I think that's what kept me sane in a sense. So I kind of felt like I had to keep on prepping to keep me sort of sane and kind of like channel my sort of focus into something else. But obviously, you know, the worst part of that was the stress. And my weight jumped up from 217 to 229, and I could not get it below 229, and that was just all stress related. So we chose 229, and it was just a stressed body. So to get down to 212, you can imagine we had to like start to push a lot of diuretics, take a lot of like do zero carbs, and you know the look at the end is just not what it should have been at all.
Just carrying 10 pounds of inflammation basically, and then trying to knock it off and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So you know that was probably one of my worst showings as a pro. I mean, I remember even being in the lineup in Romania, and you know, I said to my sister, I said, I'm not even going to make there was about 25 guys in the show. I was like, I'm not even going to make second call out. I'm going to be in the last like fourth call out. And she was like, so I didn't even pump up because I just stood there and she's like, what's up? And I was like, I'm not pumping up. I just want to go. Like, I want to go home. And she was like, just pump up. And she was like, no, I said, like, I'm going to get smoked. I said, I'm going to place last here. And they called my number for second call out, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh shit, that was me. But again, like looking at those photos, I think when you just, you know, you're not happy with how you look, no matter where you place, you don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck where I place. If I look like shit, you know, if I could place first and if I look like shit, I wouldn't be happy. You know, I would step on stage knowing that like I was the best, like I'm the best that I can be. And, you know, that's what bodybuilding does. You try to just beat that every year, right? You try to get better every single year. And even if you're second, third place, you genuinely like satisfied if you look the best you've looked.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about being a bodybuilder is you train yourself to make that mark. There's the date.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to fucking do it. And so to try and like go back on your word.
Yeah.
Like, it's like almost impossible. Like, I've said I'm going to do it. And even though in hindsight, you probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Like, you'd made that decision, and that's what bodybuilding's all about, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's like I know that I made that commitment and I wasn't going to pull out of it. And I messaged 10 days out, and I was like, Chris, can I get ready in 10 days? And he was like, yeah, you can get ready 10 days. I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. Because I knew if I didn't message anyone, I'd have just pulled out the show. But in my head, I was like, I've made this sort of commitment to myself, and I can't, like, we're all in that mindset. It's like, you can't give up now. Do you know what I mean? That's just the mind. Realistically, I should have just took a step back and be like, okay, let's just like take a step back, sort everything out. But I was already so deep in it. I just felt like I had to finish the job. And you know what? Like, I think in a sense, it's probably one of the best things I could have done, because I was like, I look like shit and I know that. And now it put me in this position of mindset that I'm in today. You know what I mean? And kind of made me think, you know what? I need to just be selfish, like go to Wales, focus on me and do what needs to be done. Do you know what I mean? So if that didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be here. So
what does losing 17 pounds in 10 days look like?
Well, we know.
It was not fun. It was like, I think I did like pretty much white fish, and I think I did carbs like meal one. And the funny thing was, I wasn't doing much cardio, because I actually was doing like pretty minimal cardio that prep. And then at the time I was double splitting. So we went down to like, we just tried at the start to just get rid of all the inflammation we could, because it was like, you know, you had like mental stress, then your body was physically stressed. And we just tried to figure out what it was. Because like, again, like looking back a few weeks later, I think a few weeks earlier, I was full, I was like round, and I actually looked like more conditioned 6 weeks than I did like 2 weeks out. It was like my muscle just deflated and there was no pop, and it was just, the body just looked like stressed. And the worst thing was, I remember I asked one of my friends to look at me, and I said to him, I said, what do you think? He was like, yeah, you look good, you're going to be ready. And I thought, man, stop fucking bullshitting me. I'm like, like 6 weeks ago. And I remember I sat there the whole day, right? And I was thinking, a little cunt was fucking telling me that I look good. I fucking look like shit. I just wanted someone to say, you look like shit. Like, what you doing? You know what I mean? And I was literally, I remember just chopping back through my photos, like 6, 7 weeks out, 2 weeks out, 6, 7 weeks out, 2 weeks out. And I was just getting more and more angry. The more I'm like, he told me I look better. I'm like, he's lying to me. So
it's hard to know when to draw the line.
Yeah.
I mean, I take being a cunt, I just go, I'm going to be a cunt.
That's what, and you know what, that's what I love about being here, because there's no bullshit here. Like, you know, Mike and Lisa are the ones that will first tell me you need to push, you know, sooner. You know,
yeah, Lisa's not pulling punches. No, she's going to tell you straight.
Tell me straight. Like even the other day, you know, I was posing and she was like, I'd like to see a little bit more detail coming quicker. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to see the same. So I was like, okay, you know, let's like implement some changes. I'm going to speak to Tom, and I'm going to tell Tom, because I'm working with obviously Tom Haynes at the moment. Like we go back and forth, and we, you know, he's probably actually there for me more than anything to like really hold me back, because I'm one of these who wants to push, you know, and at times he's been like, no, you don't need to push now. But, you know, after like Lisa was straight with me, like, look, I want to see more detail quick. I was like, Tom, I told you I want to see more detail quick as well. Can we like push? And he was like, okay, let's push. You know what I mean? But it's then like, for example, today, he's like the first. I'm like, Tom, I think I might train today. I'm not sure yet, because like, you know, I had the day yet. I had the 2 Bro show yesterday, and I got fuck all sleep. So usually I have 2 days rest days a week, but last week I trained like Monday to Friday. And then I was going to train Saturday. Usually I rest twice. And I was like, you know what? I want to train today. And he's like, how do you feel? I'm like, I'm fucked, but I'll train. And he was like, no, I think you should rest. Just stay fresh and then go.
Answered your own question, but needed someone else to tell you.
Yeah, because I would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what's great having Tom there. You know, obviously I have Mike and Lisa, they pose me every day, so they see my physique every day. They can see it changing. But I have Tom there to, you know, just run everything by and, you know, go back and forth. And we speak every day. So it seems like it's just a very, like, tight circle. And everyone around me wants me to do the best and win as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's just nice to have that circle around me.
How do you find prepping all your people while you're dieting yourself? Because we all know what it's like when you get fucking low and close to a show. It's fucking horrible. Your brain switches off. How do you cope juggling it all around?
I love it, man. Like, I fucking love it. Like, I can't describe it. If you see me at shows, man, I'm running around like a madman. Like I'm back and forth. Like, it's like I'm winning. It's like I'm doing it all. So for me, it's not really like, I don't see it as a job. It's like passion. Do you know what I mean? I just love being at shows.
Get energy from it instead of it tiring you out.
Like, don't get me wrong, the shows take, like, yes, they took it out of me. Like, today I'm fucked. But, like, I think I'm fucked because of all the adrenaline. You know what I mean? Like, the shouting at my clients, and, you know, like when Elton qualified for Olympia, I can't even explain the feeling. Like, tingles down my spine. Do you know what I mean? Because I've seen the come up. So for me, it's like, it doesn't affect me because I love it. Do you know what I mean? I think the only thing that I said to myself this year is I wouldn't travel international for clients when I'm prepping. I'll go to the UK shows 1000%, but the stress of traveling, say, to Spain, Romania, I think that's too detrimental to my own prep.
Yeah.
But like UK shows, like yesterday was a 2-hour drive, you know, so obviously it was a long day, but, you know, I my boxes, and then when I'm there, you know, I'm eating all my meals as if I'm prepping. And like I said, you know, that's why I train Monday to Friday, because usually I have one rest day in the week. But say I'd have a show, I'll just do Saturday and Sunday rest day, and then I'll be fresh straight back into my routine. As long as I get the 2 rest days a week, I think I'm, you know, completely fine.
So what about, I know you're doing like a 2-a-day sessions, like instead of cardio. How are you managing the volume of those for fatigue and stuff?
To be honest, I think we've absolutely like nailed the volume on it, because it's like the sessions are actually very, very short and intense. Like, I think chest, you know, we might do 2 or 3 exercises for a muscle group. So say I do chest, you know, I think last week we did 3 exercises. You know, one was just a build, like a set where we just worked the weight up on a pec deck until complete failure. And then we did like a superset, and then we finished off back on the pec deck. So it was kind of like, a lot of my sessions are 2 or 3 exercises, 45 minutes for the first session to say 50 minutes. And then the second session is so isolated. So like, for example, on a chest day, I'll do front delts and triceps at night. So it's really like breaking down the muscle. So it's not like we're basically doing the same volume as in one session, just broken down into 2.
Makes sense.
So it's a lot smarter than I've done doubles in the past. It's very smart approach. And then with cardio, I'm just posing, to be honest. I'm not doing any direct cardio. I actually just said to Tom that I wanted to just start a 20-minute light walk in the morning, just because it just wakes my ass up. You know what I mean? So we're just going to go like a 20-minute walk in the morning on the treadmill, just nice and light, and then I'll pose for an hour. But I've not been doing any cardio because I've literally just been posing. And as you guys know, like, posing's no joke. Like, if you pose fucking hard for, you know, 45, 50 minutes, you're fucked and you're sweating like fuck. So we're just trying to utilize everything better rather than plod along doing cardio. Let's do something that's beneficial to actual bodybuilding rather than step count or whatever. Because at the end of the day, what we stage, we go and pose on stage, right? So let's like get our cardio up for posing on stage and make it effort.
Do you think a lot of people make the mistake of chucking too much cardio in, getting ready for shows, especially some of the big guys, that end up losing muscle?
Yeah, I think you know what it is, like, anyone who generally trains very, very hard, I don't think needs to do mad amounts of cardio. I honestly think, like, I don't know if you didn't do any cardio, I believe, Dean, right?
I've done also. I've done 2 hours a day. I did 1 hour a day fasted cardio. And I always looked my very best when I did 0 cardio.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that to me, or when I think it was in a couple of your previous preps. But
it depends on the person and their body. So some people need to do more cardio than others. But all I found, it fucked me up, and it was draining me so much from my sessions. It was hurting my sessions.
But as well, I feel like you train very, very hard, and I think a lot of guys who have to do the hours and hours of cardio. Like, I coach a lot of guys, right? And the guys who generally do lots of cardio don't train hard, and they, like a moderate amount, train like animals.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I think
you're exactly right. Like, I'll do a fucking crazy set because I love to train. I don't like doing cardio. It's boring. I'll end up doing a crazy set, like a massive drop set on squats or deadlifts. You start incredibly heavy, and then you drop it, you carry on, you drop it, you carry on, you drop it, you carry on. You end up doing like 50, sometimes even 100 rep set till you're a puddle of piss on the floor. You can't breathe. Now, if that's not cardio, it's somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You're burning so many fucking calories doing that, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. That's the general rule that I find. Obviously, you're gonna get, a few people that do fucking train like animals, but just need to do cardio as well.
Yeah.
But like after sort of doing this amount, like I've not posed like this. Actually, the last time I did it this style was when I was in Dubai, and just before I turned pro, and Rude Boy was posing me every day. And it was a very similar approach in the sense where I did like literally absolute minimal cardio. And I think I ended up cutting cardio in prep. This was when I was working with a CEO. We didn't know cardio, but we were posing pretty much every day, like just 30 minutes, but we were posing hard 30 minutes. That was my cardio. Because I actually remember
it gets harder, don't it?
Yeah.
The muscle starts getting harder and harder, and posing becomes easier.
While we're on the subject though, what's everyone's thoughts on the Stairmaster then? Because it seems to be the craze now that people are doing hours on the Stairmaster.
But they're like leant over it like this, stepping up their whole body, and they're just going like this.
No, but I genuinely believe the accumulated fatigue from using the Stairmaster on a daily basis will make people's legs smaller.
Yeah, I agree. Like every time I've done
it depends.
Yeah. For example, right, another like a good example, right, is Rob Taylor last year, 2021, when he did Alicante. He did stairs every day, and his legs were still absolutely insane for Alicante.
Yeah, he could lose 2 inches and still look fucking insane.
I think he lost any tissue on his legs that year. Okay, his legs were fucking insane. Like, and he was hammering that Stairmaster. But I just feel like some people, like, I think if you're prone to losing tissue on your leg, like Rob's legs, I don't think ever like go flat really. They always look freaky. Even when he like sucked down this year, his legs were still fucking freaky.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna flatten out your weakest area generally. I mean, but everyone's different. Like Hollingshead said that he works better, more output, more food. So obviously it's a balance, and everyone's middle is different. Hollingshead reckons that if he moved more and did more and he could eat more, then that was better for him. Again, another legs guy. Hollingshead's issue was always that he was slightly weaker in the upper, and sometimes you'd see him flatten out the upper, and that was his weakness. When he drilled too hard, his upper sucked up. So I think if you're prone to losing legs, the Stairmaster's just going to wither them into matchsticks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think but if you've got some crazy ass wheels, I don't think it really affects them. You know what I mean?
But most people are doing stairs because they're saying they're doing stairs. Like I said, they're just leant over the machine. I see them, they're like a towel. They look like a towel. And they're just over the thing, and their legs are going like nothing's really like happening.
It depends, then. If you're like you, it's fucking hard work trying to hold.
Oh, mate, you won't see me on some stairs, mate. I do about fucking 10 minutes on that cunt. I'm absolutely dead, and my legs will fall off when I do wheelchair.
You see a bikini girl on it, she's
mate.
Hanging
my cardio is walking the dogs. That is it.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, and the more muscle you carry, obviously, the faster your metabolism speeds up, the more you're burning constantly. So when you get to your kind of size, Dan, I mean, all you guys on here, you got fucking tons of muscle. So it's hard. You got to eat a lot of food just to hold that muscle, ain't you? Let alone burning it.
Well, it's like a walk for someone who's carrying that. You think about your basal like metabolic rate just from existing. All of that energy conversion to just being alive, then make it move a little bit. You know, if someone's half your weight, when they move, they're not going to be touching half as much expenditure. You know, it's just obvious, really, isn't it? So I get some people asking me, like, oh, how come so-and-so can just do steps and they're ripped? And it's like, well, it's because they're massive and you're not.
Yeah.
So obviously, the bigger you are, the more energy you're burning, and the more heat you're giving off in it. So is it down to people like you, Dan, like global warming? You fucking got the old Earth.
No, it's the methane, mate. It's the whole of the ozone. It's the farting, I think.
The methane, like.
Yeah. That's the whole of the ozone's me.
Right, we've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
The first one, I think we've kind of answered, but it's asking what show you're doing next. So do you have an idea that once you've done the Arnold, if you don't qualify there, hopefully you do, then what's the next show from there?
To be honest, I'll be straight. Like the Arnolds, I just want to come in and be competitive. I don't think I'll win the Arnolds. I'm a realist. I'm not like you know, I know you don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, if you bring your A game, you never know. But I just want to go there looking absolutely insane. And what happens, happens. But I think for me, it's more go to that Arnold's and people be like, what the fuck did he do? Like, that's ridiculous. But, you know, I know the lineup's going to be, like, very strong there. So I'd just love to just go in and just battle it out with in the first call-outs. That would be a win for me. And then I'm thinking about doing Dubai because obviously it just makes sense. But my only concern is that there's probably going to be tons of Iranians just come. I don't fucking know.
When that happens.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, the Iranians can't really get anywhere, but they can all get to Dubai. So I'm a bit in two minds. I'm like, do I like leave it a week and just do Prague, or do I just go to Dubai and just hope for the best? Because you really don't know in those Arab countries who the hell is going to turn up. Yeah. Like, just, you know, you don't know. But then I also think, you know, towards the back end of the year, the shows are probably going to get a little bit less stacked because you've got a lot of the big guys already taken out because they're going to Olympia in December, you know, and the qualification cuts off in November now. So you've got a lot of those shows which they might not be as hard as they usually are. Because, for example, like Romania last year that I did, you know, you had Ashkenani, you had like Calderon, you had Nasser, you had like top 6, 7 were Olympians, you know? So it's very hard to get a look in such a big stacked 25 guy lineup. And obviously got a lot of those top guys who have made like top 6, top 10 before. So, you know, I think maybe Dubai or Prague after that, and then you've got Spain and Japan. So I'm just kind of just planning to just do a big run, you know, like a 3-4 show run, just go week to week and just see what happens.
Fair. Okay, so there's a random one. Maybe you can make sense of it. Are you going to apply all you've learned from Mike Van Wyck to your training moving forward, or are there certain aspects or movements that you will discount?
Training with Mike was absolutely like class. He's similar to like Mike and Lisa. Obviously, Mike and Lisa are training me, so I wouldn't be using any of them, any of Mike's like techniques directly. But even when I'm training certain body parts, I still like remember things that he told me of how to like my body position and stuff. You know, but Mike and Lisa are very, very similar in the sense that they train quite similar to his approach. But like I definitely like it was class training with him, and I'd take away a lot of that. You know, I think the last session we did was with Antoine. Actually, we did back together, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was good to. I think it's always great to go train with like different trainers and, you know, different pros, because you can just pick up bits and you can apply it to your own training, and yeah, it was a good experience.
Leads into the next question quite nicely. How is it working with Mike and Lisa, and what have they taught you that you might apply to your own training when you're away from them?
I think like I've obviously trained with Mike and Lisa since 2000, nearly 10 years. You know what I mean? They started training me when I was, I think the year that I won Welsh overall in the juniors, that was like the first year that I trained with them very regularly. So I think what I've learned from them, the main thing is kind of the mindset and intensity going into sets, and the ability to just push like way beyond what you think is possible. And I think like that mindset is what's going to take you far now. And I think the longer that I've trained with them, they've kind of realized that if they don't tell me to stop, I will just carry on going. And I think that's where we've been very smart this year, is we've like really tried to make every session productive rather than just go hell for leather and absolutely destroy the muscle and just obliterate it. You know what I mean? It's almost like for example, I've had some horrible leg sessions with them this year, but my leg recovery has been amazing because the volume's been very controlled. So the next day, my legs just feel full, but they're still all separated. Whereas in the past, I wouldn't be able to walk for 5 days.
Well, I remember those sessions vividly, because this is not blowing hot smoke up your ass. I've never seen anybody train like you did in those sessions with Mike and Lisa. It was next level shit, like full on torture. Like, I mean, I train hard, Dan trains hard, Dean trains hard, but the sessions I've seen you do, even when some of the demonstrations that they've done with you at like expos and things, yeah, I've literally seen you unconscious on your feet. It's insane.
Yeah, so I think like that's what we've been very smart with this year, is they know that I won't stop unless they tell me. So they're kind of like, okay, they'll like, Lisa will say to me now, like, okay, 3 more. Do you know what I mean? Which a year ago, Lisa would just go and say, okay, stop, Jay, stop. You know what I mean? So I think it's good because we just like learn as you. It's like when you work with the coach for such a long period of time, they just learn your body, and it's the same in the sense of like the training. It's like they know that I will like give every set 100%, but there comes to a point where like you can't go beyond failure, right? And you'll still try. So now it's very specific and focused.
Yeah, and that was the thing back then. I remember seeing you doing so many failed reps that I can imagine your CNS was absolutely fucking shagged at all times.
Yeah, so it's like this time, like I said, my recovery has been amazing. Like even when I was in Dubai before I came here, I would train legs. Like I think the last big session I did was with Andrew Jacks. I trained legs with him. My fucking legs I was fucked for about 5 days, 6 days. Whereas every leg session I've had here, the blood volume in my legs feel like absolutely trash. Like, but the next day, they're fine. Do you know what I mean? It's just they feel big. Like they just feel like they're big and dense, but they've got separation in. Whereas I wouldn't even be able to tense my legs in Dubai because I just physically do so much volume on it.
Yeah, it makes sense. So an interesting one from the Bodybuilding UK page. If it wasn't bodybuilding, what would you be doing instead?
A few people have said this to me. I don't know, because I actually said I'd probably I always wanted to teach PE or something, when I was like younger, before I got into bodybuilding. But obviously that's sport related, but I was always into sports when I was a kid. So I feel like I would probably have gone down that route if I didn't find bodybuilding or find a sport. Because I used to play rugby at a high level, so and football. So if I didn't go into sport, I think it would kind of be the teaching route. Which very now.
Yeah, well, Dan can give you some feedback.
Was in it.
I'm actually only 25, and teaching made me look like this.
Yeah.
No, teaching is great. It's very rewarding. So I'm Josh for all people wanting to teach. Just don't expect to earn any money.
Yeah, I guess.
But to be fair, do you know what I mean? In coaching and what you're doing anyway, you are having that pastoral care that you would say you had a tutor group at school or anything. It's the same. And if you're able to pass that knowledge and stuff, that's a skill. It means that you are a born teacher. You are that. You do have that skill set. You're just applying it in a different way. Yeah,
that's what I feel like now. It's like, obviously, we're technically teaching people how to be the best version of them when it comes to competitive bodybuilding. So I feel like I would have done something in that sense, in a different aspect, in like you said, teaching sport or rugby or whatever it would have been. But technically we're doing the same sort of thing, coaching, I guess.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah. How do you so this is more from myself, how do you manage the businesses you've got now? Obviously you've got
I'm kind of lucky in a sense where, again, this is kind of one thing that I did wrong last year within the prep, was try to do too much at once. I was starting the raw foods business because we got a meal prep company in Dubai. I was literally I was running around like an absolute madman trying to start that up. We had the clothing going, we had the site going, we had all my coaching, which was at the time probably the busiest it ever was. And even with the athletes, I had, Rob Tate, I remember I did Alicante, I had 6 or 7 pros in that show. So there was just so much pressure, and I was trying to prep myself at the same time. So don't get me wrong, I was getting everything done, but it's there's too much going on at once, And honestly, that's the reason I got divorced, because I had the lads in the house living with me. You know what I mean? And it was for me, it was I was, in my head, I was like, okay, this is the year that I need to just cement myself in the coaching business. This is the year that I need to cement myself in the food business. I just was chasing, trying to just be I was just chasing, trying to just be the most successful person I could be at that time. But it kind of got lost in a lot of things. You know what I mean? I kind of lost myself doing that. So I was like, right, I need to be the best coach. Right, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to be the best of this and this. And it was trying to take on too much at once. So that's what kind of led to me getting divorced and making me look shit for my show. And then it made me have to take a step back and like analyze what's important in my life and what means the most to me. And that's why I found myself in this position today, because I had to take that step back and just kind of, even though I'd been very successful that year in monetary terms, like I really had to take a step back and think like, okay, does this actually make me happy or does it not make me happy? You know, and that's why I actually ended up selling everything. Like I had like cars, I had watches, I sold them all. You know, I just wanted to get back to when I was my happiest. And it's again, another reason why I came here, because I started to think happiest, and I was actually my happiest when I didn't have that much, but I was enjoying bodybuilding, enjoying coaching. I was living in Wales, you know, and I think that it kind of made me realize, okay, I need to get back to that place and be at sort of peace in myself, not knowing now that I don't need much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
that was deep. I liked it.
Yeah, it's nice that you've realized it before it's too late. A lot of people get so wrapped up in that they're so far down the line is too fucking late.
But that's the thing. It's you know, people can say what they want, but until you've physically been there, you can't say anything. Like, you know, I've had like, I'll be straight up, I've had Lamborghinis, I've had fucking McLarens, I've had watches that are worth X amount, but it's all toxic bullshit. Like it is. But you know, like people can sit there behind a, like, I remember when I bought the Lambo, I got like a few people hating on me saying, oh, you've changed. But until you can physically like have that stuff and go through it yourself, like people can't really comment until they've been there. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you have to be there to realize it all, and then you kind of realize what's important when you lose other aspects of your life.
But it's relative, isn't it? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive cars or watches. It can be anything. You can get lost in chasing something that's necessarily never going to satisfy you in any aspect of your life, can't you? And I've done it in a work environment.
Yeah.
You know, got so caught up in my job that ultimately you kind of lose sight of why you're there in the first place.
And as well, I think the worst thing is, as bodybuilders and as the mindset we have, we are always chasing. Like, we're always chasing, trying to be perfect, knowing that we'll never be perfect. So when you start to put that chase into business terms, you start to chase like materialistic things in the sense of like, okay, I want to get this car because it's a goal. I want to get this watch because it's a goal. But when you've got it, you're like, okay, now what do I get? And like, that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, to me, it wasn't trying to be flashy or whatever. They were just goals that I'd thought about in my head that I wanted to accomplish. But then when I got them, I was like, okay, what now? You know what I mean? And then it came to a point and I was like, fuck, like, this stuff doesn't actually make me happy because I'm only thinking about what's next. Yeah. So I'm like, none of this shit that costs this much, or, you know, I'm working like my ass off to get, makes me happy. So I'm like, why have I got it? Do you know what I mean? And that's when I was like, okay, I need to really just strip my life back and just get rid of all this toxic shit that doesn't matter, and kind of go back to like, okay, what do I need and what do I want? It's like they're totally two different things. And do I actually really want it, or am I just telling myself I want it because it's a goal that I've set myself in my head? You know what I mean?
A lot of people, and I'm guilty of this, is of having the mindset is I'll be happy when.
Yeah.
And then you get it, and then I'll be happy when. And then you don't focus on being happy right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then you start to think, you know, like, I was starting to think like, why have I got all this stuff? Because who the fuck am I trying to impress? Like, all I care about is being happy right now. So I don't need any of this stuff because I'm not trying to impress anyone. Like, people are going to like me for being me. They're going to think I'm a cunt, or they're going to like me. It's as simple as that. But I shouldn't have to feel like I have to impress anyone or go out of the way. So I just got rid of everything. And like, yeah, I just got rid of everything and then just focused on what was actually important, you know, like making sure my family are looked after. Like, I know now, like, my mom, my sister, if they're ever in trouble, they need like anything, they can count on me, you know what I mean? And that's more important than any car, any fucking watch. You know, I know that the people around me who are close to me, like, if anything ever goes wrong, that I'm there for them. And that's what kind of like matters to me right now, is just making sure the people around me are looked after. And, you know, I'm at peace with myself and I'm happy. Do you know what I mean? And I think when you know, go through like I call it like my midlife crisis, because it kind of feels like it was, because I was kind of like a bit lost, not knowing what not knowing what really made me happy. It took me quite a while to figure it out, because I kind of went through that stage of like buying all these things, trying to find happiness in it, and then actually figuring out that, oh shit, this stuff is actually making me more unhappy.
And you know, Jeremy, this is amazing, and I really hope a lot of people take a leaf out of your fucking book and what you've gone through, what you've experienced here, because you haven't gone backwards at all in life. You just changed your priorities.
Yeah, it's exactly about changing your priorities and figuring out what's actually important to you. Because it's like I always say, like I put it all in my story a lot. Like most people we meet in life are like temporary, like literally 99. Well, everyone's actually temporary when you think about it. Even our parents are temporary. Even our like sisters are temporary. So it's just making sure you prioritize who is actually really important and there for you. And 99.9% of people are temporary, and you've got that 0.1% who you know I would do anything for. And now I'm in a position where I can do anything for them. Do you know what I mean? But it's like I had to really take a step back to figure out what was important and what mattered in my life. Because at the end of the day, it's your life, and you need to be happy, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean? And it's why, like, I remember when I first like told people I'm coming to Wales, like, oh, why is he going to Wales? Why is he running away? And I'm like, I'm not running away. I'm just finding my own peace and my own happiness. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's what's going to make me a better bodybuilder. Because like us all here on this podcast, we all love bodybuilding, live and breathe bodybuilding. Bodybuilding's probably saved us from like some of the worst times of our life. I know it saved me like from some bad times. Like I was in a bad place last year. You know, like I didn't know what was going on, but I'd go to the gym and I'd be happy. Like no matter what was going on in my life, I was in the gym and I was happy. That was the only like 2 hours that I didn't think about my divorce or what was going on or what I lost. It was like my sanctuary. Do you know what I mean?
I remember that video.
Yeah.
There was a video you posted actually in your set about that. And I think we all felt that. Because we all talk about training and stuff, and people, I want to do a show and stuff like that. Most people that are doing this thing properly is for a different reason.
Yeah,
it's respite. It has to be worth more, because you're not going to do what we've been doing just because you want to look a certain way. 100%. It has to be more. Has to be.
You don't put yourself through these absolute, like every day, like I go through some tremendous amounts of pain. If it's just for aesthetical look, it's not. It's like there's something deep down. I think that's what makes us good bodybuilders, is that mindset of like, we're not there for attention. Like I've not posted one photo of this prep because I really don't give a fuck what social media thinks. I just want to know that I stepped on stage looking the best I've ever looked, and people to go like, holy shit, like what the fuck? Because it means so much more to me than just, you know, an aesthetical point of view. Like there's so much more to bodybuilding than that. It's like I always said, like it's our sanctuary, it's our place to get away from all the bullshit in life, no matter what goes on in life. Like, you know, the gym's there, and you know you can be in the gym for that 1 hour, 2 hours a day, and you do not think about nothing. It's like just peace, you know. Even though you're in pain, you're at peace for that 1 hour.
Yeah, it is. It's the respite from the rest, reps and sets. That's why my phone doesn't come anywhere near me. No one can drag me out. I said to my mum, you know, if you die when I'm in the gym, it's not that I don't care. I'm just not going to know. I'm not going to know until I've finished. You know, I'm trying to be I'm just not going to know, you know, because nothing can, that's your, like, time. And here's the question. I already know the answer to the question, but if you could click your fingers and you have your dream physique, but you could never train again, would you pick it? Of course you wouldn't.
No.
Of course you wouldn't.
I think like people are kind of level, and anybody that's achieving kind of greatness or that kind of level, you got to be fucked up in the head.
100%.
You're not normal.
Oh, we were trying to say it in a much nicer way than that.
Yeah. You're fucking mental. But you know what? It's okay to be mental. It's true though, isn't it? The ones that succeed the most put themselves through some horrific shit that normal people just can't do that. Why would you do that? But you got to be wired up a different way, or been through some traumatic, horrible shit. You find peace in it.
That's the harsh. version.
Yeah.
But it's the real one.
Well, it's actually quite ironic because that was the whole reason we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And that was around the time that Luke had committed suicide. Well, we say suicide. We don't actually know the reason for his death technically, but you know, we'd all been led to believe that it was suicide and there was mental health issues there and what have you. So yeah, it's all kind of prevalent. It's nice that Jamie's being candid about it because, you know, it's all stuff that we deal with on a daily basis, and somebody watching this could potentially take something from that, you know?
Yeah, and I think the worst thing now is social media is so out there. It's like, you know, you see a lot of people posting and you think, are they actually happy or are they just doing this for the wrong reasons? You know what I mean? Yeah. And like I said, I've been there. Like I've posted shit that, like I even look back now and I'm like, oh, cringe. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I go on my reels, I'm like, oh, that's fucking cringy. But I'm like, you know what? Like, I ain't going to take it down because like, that's who I was at that time.
It's the journey, man.
And it's about learning about yourself and learning who you are and trying to figure out who you are. And I was just a little bit lost at that point of my life. And I was trying to find out what actually made me happy. And at that time, I was like, you know what? You know, I'm doing well in life. Fuck it. Let's like go just try enjoy it and see if that makes me happy. And I'm like, you know what? That clearly doesn't make me happy. So then, you know, that's what it's all about. It's just trying to figure yourself out, right? And I think the worst part for me was, you know, obviously I was with my ex for, 8 years? So I didn't know, I only really discovered who I was again, like these last, say, 6 months, because previously I wasn't alone and I wasn't, like, I didn't really know who I was because I was with someone for so long. You know what I mean? And it takes time for you to figure yourself out. So you're going to have that bit of a crazy wild phase that you're trying to figure yourself out and what's important and what matters. And that's why I don't like take anything down, because I don't regret any of it, because it made me learn. So I'm not gonna hide it, because that's who I was at that moment in time, and that's what made me learn, and that's what's made me see clear, and that's made me in this position that I am today. So, you know, I think that's one thing that, like, I always say to everyone, you know, when someone says to me like, oh, I really want this, I'm like, do you want it or do you actually need it? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. Like, you think you want it, but when you have it, you won't want it in like 2 weeks.
Do you know the worst thing about it? This conversation makes me more excited to see how you look on the Arnold stage than
mate, I'm buzzing.
than any. You could have hyped yourself up or whatever. Having this conversation, knowing that you're thinking so clear and having your priorities in order, does make it more exciting for, I guess, in the three of us probably sit here thinking we're going to see the real Jamie this year.
I fucking know it's going to be something now.
Yeah,
I fucking know.
That's what I want, you know. It's just like I've always said, like, I've always tried to keep it real. I try not, like, I'll always keep it real with you know, anything I do, and that's what I want this year. I just want people to think like, what the fuck was, like, what have I just seen? Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of the only thought that goes through my head every day. You know, I'm literally every single day, that's all I think about. And the great thing is I'm happy just thinking about that. And it might seem sad to some people, but like, when I think about it, it makes me happy, and I'm at peace here, and I'm just in my zone, and you know, I'm just loving doing what I'm doing now. And like, even like yesterday, like, you know, the show was amazing, and being there for clients, I love that. You know, I just love bodybuilding, everything about it. I prep myself, clients on stage, you know, I love every single aspect of it. So I just feel like happy that I'm here, and, you know, that I've been through all those shitty times to get here. And like, I finally found who I am and finally found peace, you know.
I think that's a perfect time for 5 top tips.
I think so.
And wrap it up.
Yeah, man. So what we do, bud, is at the end of our podcast, we ask our guests to do 5 top tips. So they don't necessarily have to be bodybuilding related, but I'm guessing it'll be prevalent that they probably are going to be. But just 5 tips for people watching that you think that maybe mistakes or things you've learned.
Could give me some notice on this, could you?
Honestly,
mate, loads of them have been shit.
Yeah.
They're like, mate, don't worry. We give out freebies as well along the way. They're like,
I think going back to like that conversation, probably the most important thing is like, just make sure you do what makes you happy. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest like thing I could say to anyone is do what makes you happy, and don't worry about what anyone else thinks, you know. Just focus on your own happiness and you staying in your own lane and just doing what makes you happy. Because at the end of the day, nothing else matters. As long as you're happy and you're at peace, that's all that matters.
Well, that's a life goal in itself. That's something like, you know, pure freedom comes from not giving a fuck.
Yeah,
you know, it really does. You know, I think it's a life's work.
And the only thing, like, you know, what really matters in life now is that we're doing what we love and that we have time, because that's essentially all we have is time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have massive amounts of money, but if you don't have no time, it doesn't mean fuck all. You know what I mean? So it's like, to be free and have time and do what you love doing, that's what people should be chasing. You know what I mean?
You've got a lot more time than me, because I'm about 400 years older than you.
Jamie, how old are you now?
I just turned 30 this year, so...
Oh, yeah, I remember I said that, the big one.
My time,
you're at least 10 years wiser than your actual age. You've
Mate.
wisened up and matured so much in the last few years. It's unbelievable.
I think as well, just because I think I've learned quite a lot. And the positions that I've put myself in business-wise, people come and go very quickly. So you start to learn a lot about people, and you start to, like, know the difference when people come and want something and people who are genuine. And that's just because I've been burnt in times in the past by, like, close friends, by, you know, things like that. Like, I think as you get older, you just get wiser, because when you're in a certain position, people tend to come to you to want something. So now when someone new comes into my life, my first thought is like, what do you want? Do you know? Like that. It is a natural instinct now of because of, like, the past, you know what I mean? But I've always said to myself, like, I'll never change who I am as a person. Like, I'll always continue to help people, but I'm just very more aware of who I put my time into.
It's not a bad thing at all. You know, in this industry, it's the worst industry for fucking cunts, to be honest, isn't it? It's full of them. So to be a lot more open-minded to who you put your energy into is a very wise decision to be making in this industry, especially.
Yeah. Also, the thing is, as well, like Jamie said, yeah, you got burned. That doesn't say nothing about you. That says about them. And you shouldn't change how you structure yourself just because you got burned because someone else is an asshole. Like, exactly. You should, so...
Always yourself, like, regardless. Like, at the end of the day, like, the way I look at it is, the person who I've been, and even if I've helped people in the past, that's got me to where I am today in life, in the terms of business, in the terms of, like, in the position that I'm in. So why would I change that now? Because I'm in that position because of me as a person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So the thing is, well, though, Jim, I think you've got morals and you've got principles, right, that you stick to, and you don't bend them. And unfortunately, you learn that other people tend to not align themselves with those morals and principles, but sticking to them, eventually the people you do have in your life will all align with those principles and morals, you know?
It's like I always say, everything happens for a reason, you know, and everything that happens in life that's, you know, a painful experience is just a lesson, you know, that we learn from, and then we just, you know, come back better and figure it all out. It's like life always just figures itself out, you know? No matter if you go through, like, a shitty phase, like, it's going to figure itself out somehow. So, like, I've just kind of started to be so much more relaxed with life. I'm like, if something's shit, I'm like, okay, it's only shit for this time period. It's not always going to be shit. Like, it's just a phase we're going through, and, you know, it's a lesson to take on board, and then there's light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm going to give you at least 3 there. That was definitely 3. There'll be 3 in there.
And then I think, like, from a bodybuilding perspective, I think, you know, just making sure honestly, I think when I was younger, I really wish I had someone who was able to mentor me. I mean, I did to a certain extent, but I'm talking when I was like 22, but I'd have loved to have someone there to mentor me when I was like, you know, 17, 18, but not in just a bodybuilding aspect, in like a life and a life experience aspect as well. And I think if you can find like you know, a good coach at that who really cares and looks after you as a bodybuilder and is in it for a long term, I think that's like something that a lot of the younger generation should look at. And it's hard these days because, you know, there's a lot of coaches out there who are so good on social media that they sell a dream. But I do think, like, if like, let's be honest, we all coach a little bit or whatever. If you've got like a really young athlete who you believe in, if you've got someone who you know could be on the Mr. Olympia stage, you would put so much time into them. You know what I mean? And I think a lot, if young guys can, like, you know, find a coach that they believe in, that believes in them, I think that's something that, you know, a lot of guys should be looking at doing. Just getting the right.
It's in out, isn't it? Because you've got coach, you've got loads of people, you've got people that put in. Yeah. So like the more I always say, like I said, it's not like I'm not doing this on a grand scale, but I say whatever you put in, I'm gonna times it by 10 and put it back in. But if you're putting in 0, 10 times 0 is still 0. Like you can, you know, when someone's in and they give you what you need, then it's worth fueling that fire. Some people don't need that much. They just lifestyle. They're putting in very little. Their check-ins are rushed and stuff like that. And you do what you can, right?
Yeah.
And you get, like you said, the guy that you know is the next thing.
Like I've actually got one client, like young kid called Mo. He's actually my training partner, and he came to me. He was only like 19, 20, and I remember the first day he came to me. He's like, it's like I was PTing at the time in Dubai, and he was like, I want to train with you every day, twice a day. He's like 19, right? And I'm looking at this kid. I'm like, you want to train with me every day, twice a day? I was like, you know how much that's going to cost? And he's like, yeah, I don't care. I'll pay it. I said, bro, come train with me tomorrow. So he trained with me. No joke, this kid trains like a fucking animal. I was like, you know what? Don't pay me a dime, bro. I said,
it don't cost anymore. It does not work.
I was like, bro, just come train with me every day. You can be my training partner. You know what I mean?
Because you're like, I'll pay you to train me.
Yeah.
He was an animal. Like, he's still an animal now. He actually did his first show April, first show. Like, he's only young, did classic physique. He looks incredible. But mindset-wise, you know, he's amazing. And to be able to, like, I wish I had that when I was his age. You know, someone who just said, you know what, like, I just want to help you because you've got it up here. You know,
you don't see many people with that mindset, especially these days.
You don't see, as well, to have that mindset at such a young age and just being willing to do whatever he needs to do. I was like, bro, just fucking train with me. And he's been my training partner ever since. Like, you know, I think he's going to come actually to Wales like end of the August and just stay for a few weeks to train. And like I said, he's only 20. I think he's 21, 22 now. He competed literally the other week at the Maidenhead show, won the juniors. So, but just to see that mindset, you know, and like, I'll be straight, he's probably not the most genetically gifted kid in the world, but I know he's got it up here, so he'll go so far.
But it's like I have it with teaching again. It's the what you put in, you get out. Well, you know, the guy who stays behind after, or the girl, obviously, and everything in between, like stays behind and asks the questions, they're going to get the extra answers. You know, that person goes, hey, can I come and use the studio on the weekend? I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll come in on the holiday and I'll come and meet you and we'll do it together. You know, you come and put in the time, you're gonna get the extra time, you're gonna get the extra investment. The system that you use is malleable based on what you put in.
There's nothing more rewarding than like seeing that on stage after all the work that's gone in, because you've seen firsthand what's gone into it. Like, even when Elton qualified for Olympia last year, bear in mind that I started prepping Elton in 2019, and you know, we did turn pro in his first year, but then, like, you know, he didn't place in his first year, he didn't place in his second year. His third year we did one show and he came out to Dubai and prepped and he placed third in Portugal. Then he didn't place again, and the last two shows he didn't place, and then he went and won the British. That's someone who's like taking knock after knock after knock and carried on going and then got it. So you can imagine the feeling from my point of view. It's like I just qualified for the Olympia. I mean, I had shivers down my spine. Like, literally, I can't even explain. I had shivers go down my spine when he qualified yesterday, because I've seen what's gone into it. You know, he's flown to Dubai and done a full prep with me, like train with me every day. Like, I've seen him die, like literally dying. You know what I mean?
And you've got that time, haven't you? You've had that time to build that relationship.
And we know his body so well. It was just a case of the right judge, the right time, the right, you know, it was just everything needed to be emotional. And yesterday, it was just the perfect situation. Like, I woke up in the morning and I said, fuck, you're on today. You're going to be very hard to beat, you know? And it just happened to be that, you know, we had the right judges there that loved his look and that wanted that sort of full package, like round muscle bellies. Like, Elton's like very full.
He's fucking huge. Like, When did men's physique become fucking just massive bastards?
Well, when you qualify for the O.
The crazy thing is, though, he wasn't the biggest on stage. You know what I mean?
He's not that big, is he? His muscle
he was
is so round and full. He looks massive.
Yeah, but
he didn't weigh that much.
He was still the smallest on stage. He was 86 kilo.
Fuck off.
Yeah, and he's literally 86 kilo, and he's must be 5'10".
I mean, Elton used to train at the same gym as me for quite a long time, and I told him for many years, you should be on that fucking Olympia stage because his shape is unreal. And the only thing he was lacking was teaming up with somebody like you, having that bit of guidance. But you know what I mean? You need somebody you can hit off each other and you find the right person who believes in you.
Like, I know with Elton, like, when he's around me, I just see him deflate. Like, even like I said to him Friday night, I was like, I can tell, like, I said, do you feel chilled? He's like, mate, I feel so relaxed. I said, I can sense it. When you're around me, it's like stress just goes, you know what I mean? And like I said yesterday to him qualifying, man, I can't even explain that feeling. It's literally just like
he deserves it all day long. He's incredible physique.
And he's incredible physique. Good, like, he's a good kid, you know what I mean? Like, Elton's he's loyal, he's real, do you know what I mean? And just he was made up, and again, he's had a hard year. Like, you know, he's had some personal problems the last like 2 years. I think he lost his mum literally last year, you know, when he was prepping. Hence why he actually came to Dubai to prep with me, because he needed to get out of like that world and kind of put himself in another world, you know. And that prep wasn't easy for him mentally, and you know, he ended up placing third in Portugal, nearly qualifying for Olympia. And then, you know, I actually, you know, the crazy thing was I actually told him he was meant to do Alicante the week after, and he sent me pictures, said, bro, you're not doing Alicante. I said, you're not stepping on Alicante looking like that. Not after you just placed third. I said, give the show a miss. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what people need.
I said, he sent me pictures, and I was straight up and said, bro, I said, like, you can't turn up like this. Like, you just come third in Portugal. You need to, if you come the same, you qualify, but you can't turn up like this. So I told him not to do it. You know what I mean? And then obviously, I think he figured himself out. And then again, like I said, he did 2 shows this year. He did Spain. He looked great. He did Portugal. He didn't place. Didn't give him a look in. And then comes to the UK and just cleans up. Do you know what I mean? So it just shows, like, you can take knock after knock, but when it's your day, it's your day, you know? You just got to carry on going and keep, you know, believing in yourself and just having the right people that believe in you around you, and eventually one day it'll come.
Yep. I think we can give that the 5.
That was a lot.
Yes.
Do it that way.
Hey, the only reason the tips are in there to fucking bring something else out, and we did that.
Yeah.
We did that. It's better than like the other tips of don't eat yellow snow or something.
Yeah.
Lee Priest was like,
very good tip.
Lee Priest was like, don't suck off 2 men at the same time.
Some of our Scottish guests
can't absorb that much protein in one go.
some of our Scottish guests didn't even make it to 5 top tips.
Yes.
The less said about that one, the better.
Yeah, that one. Well, the archives.
Yeah, it's already deleted off my computer.
Oh, boo.
On that bombshell, gentlemen, I appreciate your time this evening.
Mate, Jamie, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been good to be on, man.
It's been great. What an amazing insight. It's been fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
Always a pleasure to see you, Jamie, and how you've grown and how you've got past all these problems and the person you're becoming. A lot of people should be taking a leaf out of your book, and I hope they all listen to this podcast and see what's really going on. Awesome, mate.
It's been wicked. And to the rest of you, big love.
Peace out.
Thank you, gents.
See you soon.
Take care.